Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings. Today we have a trending news here for you. And the headline of the news reads, Adamu Shimole stand against Supreme Court ruling, says I am not a fan of courts imposing leaders on the citizens. But before we continue with details of the news and for the analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube. All right, let's look at the news in detail. The chairman of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, Comrade Adams Oshomole, has added his voice to the call for a constitutional amendment to save the Nigerian democracy. He does not agree that the Nigerian court should determine those who will govern the citizens if truly the country is practicing democratic government. Speaking to the State House correspondent today in Abuja, the APC chairman, who was asked to react to the recent Supreme Court decision on the governorship election petitions, especially with regards to Imo and Bayelsa State, said he is not a fan of court imposing leaders on the citizen. According to him, he said, I want to make it clear that I am not in support of political leaders being imposed on the people by the court. I want to be non-partisan now, and my stand is let not the courts determine who will govern their people. The former Edo State governor argued that the worst case scenario is to repeat the election as many times as possible until a winner emerges. Let the people choose who will govern them and not the court. If we must save the Nigerian democracy, we must have a constitutional amendment. Enough of the courts imposing unpopular candidates on the people on technical grounds like the Bayelsa State and Imo State, where the people voted overwhelmingly for a particular candidate, only for another who was rejected at the poll to be imposed on them for sin of the deputy governor. Shimole said he promised that his party will make a presentation to the National Assembly for the constitutional amendment before the 2023 general elections. All right, most people are really surprised that he's talking this way. I'm going to read one or two reactions of Nigerians in this regard. And this one said, you are right, sir. What happened in Imo State was imposition of leaders not elected. This one said, JSC Osho, sir, should Oshomole be sworn in. This one say, Osho Baba, now you speak as an elder statesman and as a real politician. Another one said, my dear comrade, I think this is the first time you have ever spoken the mind of the people. God bless you because you are very correct. Another one said, you are not a fan of the court, but the same court brought you to power. Another one says, I supported him, but he must be face punished for the atrocities you have committed to our nation. Another one here said, the same court Oshomole is accusing impose him on Edo State instead of Governor Osubo due to technicalities. And the last one I'm going to consider here says, my dear comrade Adam Oshomole, sir, I respect your opinion on this one, and I think you have spoken well on these issues, right? And we're going to be talking about this because it bothers the heart when you see things like this happen. You know, one of the things that most Nigerians were looking at this point was that the court, the Supreme Court, owing to the fact that they do not have the right to declare anyone a winner, especially when complexities come in like this, you know, where they have to explain to you the electoral laws, have to explain to you the duties of INEC, they have to explain to you that a non-INEC official has no power to bring in a particular document as, you know, as evidence to trash that of an appointed INEC official. All of that put together, you know, taking that into consideration, the expectations of Nigerians were that finally the end of this whole thing will be INEC take over this election once again. We want to see these guys run again because we do not understand the complexities that is, you know, around this whole case. That was the expectation of Nigerians. Most people were believing that that is what will happen. But unfortunately, it didn't turn out like that. Instead of that, they were now telling Nigerians, picking a number 4 man and dropping him in front of everybody. And despite the fact that it has been so obvious, the clerical error, the mathematical error, the arithmetic error, the computation and the permutation were not right, but he still went further. The Supreme Court still went further and gave their opinion again, rejecting and dismissing the application of Emeka Ihedioha. It's absolutely wrong. Nobody is happy with what is happening in this country. Judiciary, your own was not to tell Nigerians who have won an issue like this, a case like this. That wasn't worst come to worst. Since this thing is seems to be almost beyond our strength, seems to be beyond our jurisdiction. Okay, guys, go back to the field. We give you 90 days according to the provision of the law. We give you 90 days, go into the field, let more people again have the opportunity of electing the person that they feel is capable of leading them for the next 4 years. That was our expectation, but it didn't happen that way. Instead of that, they take side, and unfortunately, according to information from not just ordinary people walking down the street, but even from legal luminaries, those who have been in such positions before, they all say one thing: that the whole thing, the verdict, according to the foremost Attorney General of the United States, he said that it was flagrantly fraudulent verdict. That was the name given to it. So it clearly shows that, hey, whatever that they did, they didn't have that power. I think for the first time, Adam Oshimole has made a suggestion that is generally accepted by Nigerians. If you listen to some of the comments of Nigerians towards the statement that he made, you will see that Nigerians are happy for the first time with him, because he's always been neck deep into, oh, my party must win, my party. Well, this is not democracy again. Absolutely. It's not democracy again. The question is, before you begin to go push harder and harder to, take some decision, be forced as judiciary to take some decision, especially when it comes to election, you must first of all reflect back at the definition of democracy. What is democracy? Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people are most important in this case. It's not you. It's not you, Supreme Court, whatever you call yourself, or Chief Justice of Nigeria, CGN. It's not in your power to elect people, because what we are currently seeing right now is not election. It's not, you are not sitting over a election case. You are appointing the people that will rule a state. Because if you do not go by the provision of the law in respect to issues, provision of the electoral law in respect to this kind of issue, automatically you are now in the position of appointing people who will rule Nigeria, and that is absolutely not democracy. Absolutely not democracy. And at this point, I want to say that most Nigerians are so scared that the way things are going, the military might even want to get involved, in ruling this country once again. It might result to maybe a coup or something, because the judiciary, they have not done. The outcry of the people have been heard overly by virtually everyone. And it's a clear indication that the present day administration, especially those elected into offices, they are not doing well. Okay, like if you've gone down, check our feed and see some of the videos that we've done, some of the news that brought that your way. There's a particular justice who was really against it. Now, before we even talk about it, there's one judge that we all know who had already given an insight to this case, and he didn't give that insight just now, but before, he had already made Nigerians to understand that it's important for the Supreme Court justices and the people to understand that the justices that are in Supreme Court can make mistake, and Nigerians understood with that. They are to err is human. There is nobody who does not make mistake. So the issue of saying we cannot review our verdicts, we cannot review is absolutely nonsense. It's pride that will, take away, bastardize judiciary. It's a foolish pride. Nobody can make us go against our these things. So if you say, for example, that water which is colorless you come to a conclusion that water is actually colorful. And despite the fact that it has been proven, they even bring a sample of water and show it to you. God, water is colorless. It doesn't have any color in it. Because we have reached a consensus and we have brought our verdict, there is no way we can change our verdict. Is it not foolishness? To A, whether you like it or not, is human. It is human, oh God. We all know we can make mistake. Is human, and to accept that you have A is also human. Though some people say is divine, that certain persons do not accept that they have A. But hey, you accept it. Nigerians will understand with you. Look at the president that you guys are keeping for the future lawyers that are going to come on board. Who will make reference to this? Is it not pure bullshit? Who will ever make reference to this president? Say, well, the reason why we are saying that it's our person that won, despite the fact that they have invalidated some of the vote, is we are making reference to the case between Hobu Zodima and Emeka Ihedioha, where Hobu Zodima came up and his number of votes was higher than the number of validated voters. And wherever you are, you applaud yourself that you did a good job just because you want to preserve your nonsense pride, the pride that doesn't even make any sense. This is absolutely wrong. I give in to what Adam Oshimole has said. I think there need to be constitutional amendment in this regard, whereby when people are being given that opportunity, if we look into the case, maybe they take it to the tribunal or take it to the court, and there's a lot of complexities about it, call for a rerun. Nobody will beat you. Just said, okay, since it's become this complex, it should be engrafted into our constitution. Since it's gotten to this point, all right, you guys need to go again for another rerun so that the people will be pleased that whoever that is ruling them is absolutely the person they voted into power. That's where we're going to leave it. Please go to our comment section. Let us interact. What's your position about this suggestion by Adam Oshimole, the current national chairman of APC, that he is not a fan of court imposing people